We all know the Battle of Isengard, which took place on March 3, 3019 of the Third Age, where Saruman's forces were defeated by the Ents, led by Treebeard, who was persuaded or tricked by the two hobbits to take arms, or better said, branches. In this surprise attack, they destroyed the tower and flooded the fortress, marking the beginning of the end for Saruman's power. But what if the Ents never fought? Instead, after the Battle of Helm's Deep, the Uruk-hai managed to regroup at Isengard, where they made a last stand against the forces of Rohan, led by King Theoden himself. In our what-if scenario, we envision Saruman's forces initially numbering 10,000 Uruk-hai. After the Battle of Helm's Deep, only 4,000 to 5,000 managed to flee in disarray. Some head towards mountains, while others attempt to reach the western or eastern lands of Rohan, all with the goal of returning to Isengard. However, only around 2,000 to 3,000 Uruk-hai actually manage to regroup and return to Saruman. Of those who do not make it back, only a small number escape the wrath of the raiding parties sent by King Theoden ahead of the Rohan army. This sets the stage for a chaotic aftermath where survivors struggle to reunite with Saruman's forces amidst the ongoing conflict and pursuit by Rohan's troops. On March 5, 3019, the army of Rohan, around 2,000 to 2,300 men strong, left Helm's Deep. King Theoden led them as they rode towards the great citadel. Letters were sent to other army groups scattered around the country with the message, "The king is marching to Isengard. Come, sons of Rohan, and join the king's army at the fords of Isen by March 7th and take revenge on this sickness that has spread across our lands." Many had come to their king, some joining him on the way, others already present at the gathering point. By the time the army arrived at the fords of Isen, the strength of Rohan had grown to 4,000 to 4,500 strong, consisting of riders, archers, and infantry, all eager to assist King Theoden. They assembled a camp, and at dawn the next day, the army departed for Isengard. Only a small garrison was left behind at the camp to guard it and to receive any new soldiers who were still on their way. The Rohirrim stopped near the walls of Saruman's at a respectful distance. King Theoden issued orders to begin constructing siege equipment. Ladders, battering rams, siege towers, and even arnagers were built. He was determined not to prolong the siege unnecessarily, recognizing the resolve in his soldiers' eyes and their hunger for justice. He knew that the next day, these brave soldiers would need to storm the walls once and for all. Meanwhile, the white and evil wizard, seated in his tower, also gave orders: prepare for battle, man the walls, and get ready to defend. The Uruk-hai numbered around 6,000, armed with spears, crossbows, swords, and pikes. At this point, Saruman was confident that both their numbers and the fortified walls would be in his favor. Around noon on March 9, 3019 of the Third Age, the Rohirrim closed in on the walls of Isengard. The arnagers began firing projectiles into the fortress, while ladders and siege equipment were moved forward. The battering ram made contact with the gate and began pounding relentlessly. Amidst the chaos, a captain's voice rang out, "Again! Again! Come, my brothers, again!" They were determined to breach the defenses of this great citadel, spurred on by their resolve and the urgency to bring justice to Saruman's stronghold. The Uruk-hai responded swiftly to the Rohirrim assault. Crossbows and infantry lined the walls, while others positioned themselves near the gate, ready to defend once it fell. Fire projectiles from the Rohirrim armigers rained down, targeting ranks of pikes and infantry among the Uruk-hai defenders. Despite the onslaught, there was no fear among these creatures. They were bred and trained for one purpose alone, and that was war. Once the gate fell, the battle spread throughout. Several units began descending upon the walls teeming with Uruk-hai and goblins, while the gate was assaulted by Rohan's brave infantry. Archers fired ceaselessly, targeting large groups of enemies on the walls. The plan was to establish a small foothold inside to regroup and utilize the quality and discipline of the soldiers against the overwhelming numbers of enemies. Despite losses accumulating quickly, the infantry managed to create a small breach in the Orc line. At King Theoden's signal, leading the cavalry charge, they rushed inside to support the center and decisively break the defense line. Knowing that once the line was breached, the cavalry could easily win the battle. The cavalry began to penetrate behind enemy lines, and the plan started to work. Now it was only a matter of time until the entire enemy army would be defeated. The flanking maneuvers and powerful strikes of the shock cavalry were taking their toll, and the orcs began to falter, unsure of how to react. They found themselves caught between a hammer and an anvil. The center was cleared, and those who had fought at the gate began scaling the walls to encircle the enemies. The cavalry followed Theoden, advancing towards the Tower of Orthanc, while the archers, with depleted ammunition, joined alongside the remaining infantry from outside the fortress as they stormed through the gate. The command was clear: leave no one alive. After another hour, from the wall to the tower, no Uruk-hai or goblin were alive, only piles upon piles of dead bodies. The day was victorious. Saruman's army was utterly destroyed, though Rohan suffered significant losses, with between 1,300 and 1,800 soldiers falling. It was a monumental effort, but Isengard will now only exist as a shadow of its former self. The victory is clear, but did Rohan overcome a slight delay in helping Gondor? Perhaps? Maybe not. Leave a comment with your opinion, and if you liked it, don't forget to leave a like, just as the King of Rohan sacrificed his men to restore peace.